Hello, at 2019 Hall of Fame induction ceremony, we have the baseball team captains, Jack Hughes, Ben Muniz, Jake Rodden, and head baseball coach Will Sanborn of the 2006 baseball team. Guys, I just have a few questions. First one is, what was your reaction when you got the call that this team was going into the Hall of Fame?
Really speechless, because we had a great run, and it was really a team effort for the 4 years. And individually we didn't do anything special, but I guess collectively we did. So but we're thrilled to be here.
I said about time. That's obviously a joke. Same reaction. I was speechless. I mean, I didn't realize that we had made that big of an impact, but I was honored to find out that we had. So,
great honor. I remember getting I think I called you, Jack, after I heard, and it's a great honor. It's going to be a great night.
I think it's so special when you put a team in. There's a special vibe with that, and that's something that you just can't duplicate. And when you're going through it, you don't realize the impact you have. But for this team to have won the first NCAA tournament game, and not only get to the regional but win a game there, was something special. And a super talented group. And just a bunch of guys that bought in and believed in each other and loved to play together. So
I'm going to put you guys on the spot here even more. Come up with a memory from that year that kind of stands out.
The fact that, I remember it being significant that we made it to the NCAA tournament first time in school history, and I knew that we were good, and I knew that we could compete, and I know we had our sights on the World Series in Wisconsin, and I know, remember how disappointed we were that we didn't get that done, but at the end of the year, we knew that we had accomplished something, and knowing that we played our way into the tournament was something I'll never forget.
well, I remember being in the on-deck circle. We're playing Bowdoin College, we're losing, and all of a sudden, Luke Enman hits an absolute bomb. I mean, this thing, the second it hit the bat, you knew it was like going 100 feet over the fence. And I remember, about 10 feet off the bat, I'm like jumping up and down and screaming at the top of my lungs. That's one of the best memories I have. And that thing was ridiculous. It was a bomb. Absolute bomb. And then we ended up winning that game 9-7.
He had a few of those.
A few.
Yeah, he had a few.
Yeah.
I don't think I really had one specific memory, so to say. There were so many of them, but the camaraderie on the team, I remember just is what I think was one of our major part of our successes, compared to having 16, 17, studs. I don't know if we had that, but we had the camaraderie where I'd say that put us above the bar.
So it wasn't your last college at bat that was your best memory?
I was going to skip that one, but that is one of my favorites. There's a couple of them, like I said.
Coach.
I think that regional tournament win, just the way we did it, we were down 7-0, I think, in the first inning. And Charlie was pitching, and they were all over us. And it was a bad start, but guys kept grinding it out. I think Enman really got us going with that home run. But they never gave up, and they kept grinding. We came back to win that ball game, and I think that's a great example of the kind of fortitude and the guts that group had. Because Bowdoin had a really good ball club, and it couldn't have looked worse in the first inning. But we really came back and got it done. So
definitely. So, who was the first person you called when you found out, and what was their reaction?
Yeah, I think it was Jake, and. Knowing Jake, nothing really surprises him. So, he basically said, well, it's about time, kind of like what Ben said, tongue in cheek, of course. But, Jake and I, go way back to freshman year, and we played all 4 years together and have, a million memories. So, it was him.
Well, first of all, I live in Reedfield, so I don't call people. We don't have that kind of technology. But when I found out, I was so thrilled. I went out to the woods, and I did a little happy dance.
Well, somebody's lying between me and Jack, 'cause I called him, I thought. So, well, I'm not 100% sure who called who, but we'll
we
skip.
go.
Other than Jack, I called my parents after. Well, I called my wife first, and then I called my parents, and told them about the induction. So,
Coach, what you have something to add?
One of the things I want to relay is just the type of team it was. I mean, and these two guys are like Felix and Oscar. I remember there was one time in the gym where Jack decided to convince Jake that the NCAA was investigating us for steroid use, and that Chris Doughty was the focus of the investigation. And that soon the white coats from the NCAA were coming into practice. And, you know, Jake's a very trusting and also gullible young man. And he bought it hook, line, and sinker. So
sure did.
that's just an example of the kind of fun we had, too.
That was.
That's great. And I remember that year we were all waiting to find out what the NCAA seeding was, if we're going to get in, because we didn't have an automatic qualifier. Number 2 seed, and you called Coach Sanborn at 3 in the morning.
That's right.
And I believe there's a funny story there. Speaking of phone calls, I don't know who wants to tell it.
From what I recall, Coach did give me the approval to call him at any time in the night, and and we
For that night only.
And right, and it was a rarity that we were up at such an hour, Jake. I would say, right. However, we just so happened to be up, and I knew Coach would be excited. The phone call lasted about a half of a second, I'd say. And, yep, great. See you in the morning. And that's about what I recall from it, yes.
All right. Yeah, that was good times. Those were good times. Number 2 seed as the first trip. That was pretty crazy, not what we expected. But thanks a lot, guys. We'll hear more from you later on.